Welcome back to this program on the traditional ballad index. This part of the program is specifically about how to use the downloadable version of the ballad index. If you want to learn about the online version or about our special software, you should look up those other videos. This is probably the hardest version of the ballad index for users. If you're going to use the index casually, you should probably work with the online index. But the downloadable version makes it easiest to incorporate data from the index into your own projects. As always, the place to start when you're downloading is on the Ballad Index Table of Contents page that we've visited in other videos. You've seen this stuff at the top. So this stuff at the top is devoted to searching the index online. But if you scroll down the page about halfway, you'll find a subhead that says, "Here are files you can download." There are several things to download here. You can download the index in text, you can download it in HTML, or you can download it in PDF. For the text version, you need to choose the version appropriate to your system. I'll get back to that. The largest and most elaborate version you can download is the PDF file. I'll be honest, I'm not sure how much longer we'll be able to produce PDF versions. The index includes tens of thousands of links, and most PDF generators choke and die on it. I've spent hours trying to get that to work. Even some PDF readers have trouble reading it, but it gives you a formatted, internally linked version of the index. At the beginning of the PDF file is a list of song titles, which you can search to find the song you want to look up. After that comes the text of the index itself, currently almost 8,000 pages. So let's take a look. I'm going to go into Acrobat Reader here. The PDF file is fully searchable, although it can take some time to find a reference in such a large file. Let's try searching, so find command. Let's try searching for, say, Harrigan, after Ned Harrigan, a 19th century vaudeville performer who wrote many songs with David Graham. So take the find command. It takes some time, but it finds various Harrigan and Graham songs, including, okay, there's one. The second one is Babies on Our Block. This one includes a substantial article about Harrigan, the author of the words, and Graham, the author of the tune. So there's a lot of information in here. And you can find it with any PDF reader. I'm going to assume you know all about your own PDF reader, so I won't say any more about the PDF version. I'm going to shift over to HTML, so now we go into a browser to look at that. The downloadable HTML version has a somewhat different structure from the PDF. It's not quite as big a file as the PDF, but it's still a big file, which means it will take some time to load. Probably several minutes to get it into your browser. It doesn't have a table of contents at the top. It goes straight into the songs. You can use, again, as with the PDF, you can use your browser's find command to find things. So for instance, let's look for Child Ballad number 116, Adam Bell. So find, and we'll look for Adam Bell. And there we are. Adam Bell, Clem of the Clue, and William of Cloudsley. This is a song where the notes contain significant new research. That's why I picked it out. We've learned a lot about 16th century printers since Child's time, and the notes for this song summarize that information and what it tells us about Adam Bell. So again, this is another one with a lot of notes. The HTML version, this is one place where the HTML version has a significant advantage over either the PDF or the text version, and that's that the links are live. Here we have a route number reference. If you click on that link, it's actually heading off. It takes a while because it's having to go over to the Vaughan Williams Library, but there it is, the entry for Adam Bell. And apologies while this train goes by. Other than having those links, it's really very similar to the PDF. So there you go, and you can search through the versions of Adam Bell in the route index. Which brings us to the third version, the text versions. This is just plain text, but it comes in two flavors. One is in Unicode, the other is in plain old basic ASCII the way we did things 20 years ago on the internet. The latter version, the strict ASCII version, works on all computers. The Unicode version requires a Unicode computer. Just about anything made in the last 5 years would work for the Unicode version, and many machines that are older than that, because Unicode has been around for a while. But if you're working on a really old Unix machine or the like, you may have to use the ASCII version. I'll give you two examples of the differences between the Unicode and the ASCII version, by showing you two versions of the same entry, one using Unicode, the other not. So the first one of these is child 23, Judas. And here's what's interesting about this one. This is the beginning of the entry as it is in both the Unicode and the text versions. But Judas is so old that it uses the obsolete Middle English letter thorn, which looks sort of like a P with the loop slid partway down. So this is that thing there is an uppercase thorn, and that's a lowercase thorn. The Unicode version of the song lets us quote the first line of the song in the proper Middle English form using thorn. The text version is forced to transliterate the text. Child also transliterated in his text. But the literature about this ballad in Middle English is very extensive, and using the proper form, using the thorn instead of whatever equivalent we use, makes it accessible. Indeed, the notes on Judas quote some of this literature, and the use of Unicode allows the notes to quote the text properly, quotes those Middle English letters. Our next example is a French song, à la Clara Fontaine, and this time the Unicode actually lets us quote the title of the song correctly. In Unicode, we have an accent on the A. In the straight text, the ASCII version, there's no accent. So again, this can help you to see what is actually in these foreign language books. And we also have instances in the index of letters in German, Greek, Hebrew, and probably some others I've forgotten. You may not read any of these languages in particular, so text in whatever language is generally transliterated as well. But as with Judas, having the proper text in the original language may make it possible to find references that you would not have been able to find otherwise. So if you can read the Unicode version, it's the better one to use. If you can't, then you get the text. But if you download it, you do, again, there's the other thing you have to worry about is which version you download. You should probably be careful to download the version appropriate to your computer. For Windows PC, for Mac, or for Unix. Chances are pretty good that whatever software you use, word processor or whatever software you use can read all three versions equally well. The only difference between the files is the character that they put at the end of paragraphs. But it never hurts to play it safe, so download the version for your particular machine. If we look at the text as it shows up in the text version, you'll see that the individual records is just text. There's no fancy formatting, no boldface or anything like that. The individual records, the individual song entries, are delimited by a line of 3 equal signs. There's no real significance to that. It's just something to tell you where one entry ends and the next one begins. We had to put something in there, and it didn't seem likely that we'd be using 3 equal signs for anything else. There isn't a lot more to say about the text versions. They're plain text, no formatting. You can open them with any word processor or text processor that can handle 20 megabyte files. On the Macintosh, the program you're seeing right now is one called BBEdit, but anything that does text will work just as well. The links, for obvious reasons, don't do anything in this version. If you see something with a route number, you'll have to go to the route index and look those up yourself. That's just what text means. There's a technical footnote here. The fact that we use delimiters, these equal signs, for records, and that each field within a record has a field delimiter, like name or description or whatever, means that you can theoretically import this into another database, such as an SQL database. But keep in mind that some of the fields, especially the references and the notes, can and do contain paragraph breaks. Importing the index into some other database is certainly possible, but I haven't tried it and can't give you any advice on it except to say that it's theoretically possible. And I'm sure that's enough technical information for one video. We'll talk about other ways to access the index in other videos. Thanks again.